Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 107 of the Grove podcast. Now, I hope you're all doing well and I hope you're having a fine time during the off season. And if you're in the south of England, like myself and our guest, and I hope you're not melting away because bloody hell, it's hot. It is hot. So we're all here sort of, sweating buckets, talking to a bunch of Arsenal fans whilst the heat is on, for sure. So anyway, look, in today's episode, we're doing another in our series of meeting members of the Arsenal online community, where we meet fans and have a chat that we've either heard on other podcasts, read their blogs, seen them on the socials, bought the stuff that they make and sell, and we, with a view just to get to know them about their Arsenal background, their love for Arsenal, and their connection to Arsenal. So it's really interesting chats, and we've been really fortunate to talk to some really great Arsenal fans on this pod, the likes of North Banksy, Shiwar, Guna Dave, Dave Seeger, Detroit Guna, and Elliot Smith and Poz from the Arsenal Vision podcast. And one person that I've missed off that list is actually he liked it so much he's now become a regular, and that is welcome Ask and Picks. Ian, how are you doing? And have you recovered from your duet with Paul Simon in New York City?
I'm doing well, Tabs. Thanks very much. And yes, my prize for doing the first ever in this series was to come and join the pod. So yeah, it's an honor to be here along with our guest today. She's one of my favorite kind of online presences in the Arsenal world. And my duet with Paul Simon, let's just say for the rest of this podcast, you're going to have to call me Art Garfunkel. So it went well.
And when I say duet, I mean he was singing and you were singing as well, but also I think 10,000 other people may have joined in at the same time.
So. 10,000 people, maybe more. Yes.
Wow, fantastic. Anyway, good stuff. So look, you can find all those, including the one with Ian, Ask and Picks, in our back catalogue. So just go and find us, and you can find those if you got a spare moment during the off season in between all these new signings that we're for sure going to be hearing about this week. So anyway. Without further ado, today we're really pleased to have yet another special guest to add to that list of fans on the Grove podcast. And we're joined with someone whose work is instantly recognisable amongst the Arsenal community through her distinctively charming and wonderful paintings, pictures, and Arsenal-themed products. She is the talent and the big talent behind Ruth Beck Art. So welcome to the Grove podcast, Ruth Beck. How are you? How are you doing today? How are you keeping in this heat?
Hi, I'm melting. Hello, Ian. Hello, Tabs. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm melting. I'm glad this is a audio-only podcast because you guys and your budgie smugglers, it's I think you can get through the...
I didn't think you could see mine.
It's not a video one. If we were... well, I'm going to show you what I am wearing.
But... Oh, they're very cute. Yes. Nice. Oh, I think Gav will like those.
Yeah, they are courtesy of Shiwar from the Shiwar website. So there we go. When it's this hot, I thought, I'll don these for this special occasion. So anyway, look, thank you for coming onto the pod and joining us today. And we really look forward to hearing more about your work and your love for Arsenal. Now, before we get going, Ruth has generously donated a prize, and we've got a giveaway, a competition. It's a A3 color print of one of Ruth's original pictures, and in fact, why don't you tell us the story behind it and tell us about it?
So the prize is it's an A3 print of my painting of the West Stand Entrance from the old Highbury Arsenal Stadium. This particular picture, I had the Arsenal social media site. They named me one of their creatives of 2021, and which I was really, really proud of. And I have as my pinned tweet on my X account. And it was in 2021, and they had 10 artists, and they messaged me and said, would I mind them using this particular image because it evoked, historical Arsenal and all that. And I was over the moon, really. So, that's probably my claim to fame with the contact with the Arsenal directly. And it's, I suppose, the thing that the image that people see first when they come to my page, if you like, because it was my pinned tweet, and it's probably the one that I've sold the most as well, really. And it is just a beautiful building, isn't it? And I'm so glad that it's listed and it's kept. And so really that's why I decided to have that as the giveaway, because it is probably the one that I'm known for. I think you could argue with that. I suppose people might think that there are other pictures that they relate to me.
I mean, for me, your drawings are very distinctive and how they look. So you know, whenever you see you're scrolling through the feeds and that's one of Ruth's piece of work, and stuff like that. It's very distinctive and very recognizable. So look, again, thank you for donating that. And so look, at the end of the pod and on the socials, I'll be posting a question, and all you need to do is email us at thegrovepodcast@outlook.com, or DM us on the socials, and you can find us at the Grove AFC on Threads, Blue Sky, X, Instagram. And I'll be putting a question at the end of the pod, and I'll put it on the socials. And one lucky listener will win that, and we'll do a draw towards the end of the week or in our next pod, and so on. So look, send us your answers to the Grove Podcast@outlook.com, or DM us to win this wonderful prize. So look, before we get on to your love of Arsenal and your history with Arsenal, Ian wanted to sort of chat a bit more about Ruth Beck Art and your background and how you got into drawing and painting and so on.
Now, Tabs, you're not allowed to enter that competition, right?
I've already entered it 20 times, so fingers crossed.
I see how this goes. Ruth, thank you so much again. I just want to echo what Tab says. It's a real honour and pleasure to have you on. Again, you're one of my favourite kind of Arsenal online people, and I'm really looking forward to the chat. But tell us, before we get on to your love of Arsenal, let's learn a bit more about Ruth Beck Art. Like what first inspired you to pick up a paintbrush, and how did that evolve then into Ruth Beck Art?
Well, I've always been involved. Well, I've always loved art and creating since I was tiny. Really, my dad was very creative. He was, and my uncle was a really great artist. So the family are very creative. My brother as well. He paints in oils and things. So from a very young age, I always painted and doodled and did things like that. And I used to do like caricatures and like cartoony type things, and I painted in acrylics and did fruits and all sorts of stuff. But then it must have been about 10, 12 years ago, I started getting osteoarthritis in my thumb, and it got worse and worse. I had to give up work, and I couldn't even write my name. It got to a stage where I'm right-handed. It was my right thumb, and I couldn't even hold a pencil. So went off to see the surgeon, got onto the old injections. They didn't work. The surgeon said, "Well, we'll have to operate." So they did, and that left me out for 11 months. So I had major reconstructive surgery on my right thumb. They rebuilt the whole joint, basically, and I had it in a cast for 11 months. The cast itself was about 5 months, then physio on it for the rest of the time. And 11 months after the surgery, my lovely surgeon, who was incredible, he promised me before the surgery that I would paint again. And when we got to the end of the physio and everything, I said, "Well, what should I do?" And he said, "Just take it really, really slowly. Do something that's very gentle. Don't go, trying to, do what you did before." So I bought myself a little watercolour set, from W.H. Smith, just 12 little colours. And I sat at my kitchen table with a bit of paper, and I thought, now what shall I draw? What shall I paint? And I sat there and thought, well, do what you love. And my first love is home, and my home is Highbury. And I lost my mum quite a few years ago, so I hark back to Highbury a lot, like Highbury Barn and Highbury Hill and Highbury Quadrant, Highbury Grove and all that. That's where we grew up. And I thought, I'm going to paint Highbury Barn, the little, parade of shops where my mum used to buy her daily groceries. And I did this little sketch out, and I got my paint, watercolours. It was so careful, to get my hand back into like holding the paintbrush and everything.
Yeah.
And at the end of the result, I thought, this is quite nice. I quite like this. And I'm in a Facebook group called I Grew Up in Islington, and it's got thousands of members in there. And I thought, I'm going to post my painting on there, see if anyone recognises it. And I did. And loads of people commented on it and said, that's Highbury Barn. Oh, I grew up there. Oh, I used to go shop there. My mum came from there and all this. I thought, this is amazing. So I thought, what should I do next? So I did the clock tower, the top of Highbury Hill, the big red Queen Victoria monument. I thought I'd paint that because that's means so much to us growing up. And yeah, the feedback I got, and it just went on slowly. I did another painting. And I just felt that my hand held up really well doing it. It didn't hurt because it wasn't stressful. I got a lot of joy and therapy from doing it. And then I was showing my brother, and he was really impressed. He said, "Oh, you know what, girl, you should do something from the Arsenal." I was like, "Yeah, that's right," because we all love the Arsenal, and it's part and parcel of what I was doing, like a collection of pictures. So the first thing I painted was my first attempt at the West Stand entrance again.
Yeah.
And I painted it. It was quite bluish and red in colour. And I gave it to my brother, who said, "Oh, that's absolutely lovely. I love that." So I thought, I'm going to have a go at the East Stand entrance. That's a big, like the facade of the East Stand. So, so I tried that, and the feedback I got from that, and this was before I was on Twitter or anything. I was just on Facebook really, and I thought, I quite like this. So I did a few more Islington things, and then people were then coming to me and saying, "Can we buy prints?" And I thought, I'll get myself a little printer. So I've got some prints, and I was starting to sell them. So I'll do an Etsy shop, and I had 3 or 4 sales. I thought, this is quite nice. And it just, so the surgery in 2018, I started painting in 2019, and it just grew and grew and grew. And then I joined Twitter, and I just got in touch with a few like-minded, and it just, just went a bit crazy. So it was wonderful. And then the people that were there right in the beginning, like Fergus at Guns and Ribbons, and I had Sophie at the Highbury Squad, and Amanda, and they were all there from the beginning, really propelling me and saying, this is great. And it was just lovely, and it's just grown organically. It's just really blossomed, and with my Instagram account as well, it's just gone lovely.
And for number one, fair play to you for not letting the situation with your thumb stop you doing what you love, but like incredible timing as well, because as you say, you had to stop working, so for this to kind of take off thereafter, I'd say that was an incredible feeling for you, that you had this that you could do.
It was like second lease life. My early years, when I left school, I got a job in a press agency, and my training and my work background is picture researcher and picture librarian. And I've worked for loads of big media companies. I worked for Sky News and Sport for 12 years. It was my job to put, when they read the news, and they have the little photo behind their shoulder, and Sky Sports as well. That was me. I was in the Stills Library doing all the pictures. So I did that for years and years and years. And then stopped that, and then I ended up working for a print room in a school, but my hand just gave up, and I just thought, what am I going to do? So after the surgery, being able to actually find and go into something that I just originally loved, which was the art, I couldn't ask for more, really. It's just been brilliant.
And like you touched on it there, like your art isn't only about Arsenal. You specialise in a few other things, especially kind of landmarks, and especially around Highbury. Like, what are some of your favourite parts that you've done around Highbury? Tell us a bit more about those specific things that you specialise in.
Well, I went to Highbury Quadrant School, which unfortunately is closing this year. It's been open since the late 50s, and they're shutting it down. So I've done a few views of Highbury New Park and the school, and Chapel Market is another place in Islington High Street. But I really, really love doing the pubs, and one of my favourite ones is the Golden Fish Bar, because it's just a fish bar on a corner, but it means everything on match day.
It's so iconic, it's so iconic. And
people will comment on it and comment about the type of burgers that they sell and how quick the chips are served and everything. And it's a lovely little sort of angled picture, and you can see down Gillespie Road, and I love brickwork, so I love doing my paintings. I paint the players, and I paint scenes and things, which I find really difficult, because I always say I don't do faces, and I don't get the amount of joy of doing the players as I do as doing the building. And last couple of days, I've done some old Highbury pictures, like some old entrances to the Highbury Stadium where season ticket holders, it would mean so much to them because that could have been their block or their seat, you know. So that's why I get my real joy is doing all the tiny brickworks.
And I completely get that, because and the stuff that you do with the players is amazing, and the entrances. Some of my favorite pieces of yours are the stuff that's outside, because this is what you do. These are the places you go before the match. These are the routines that you follow, and it's not like, obviously going to an Arsenal match is an absolute privilege, and the main reason you're there is to go to a match. But it's so much more than that. It's about where you go before the game, where you go after the game, and you have all of those places there that you.
It's like the Little Wonder Cafe,
Yes.
the Gunner's Fish Bar back in the day, and people will have a pint in the Eaglet, or they'll go to the Tollington, or they'll go to the Woodbine.
Yeah.
My dad used to drink in the Woodbine just because that was his local pub, So there's double meaning for everything that I paint. It's like, for me, it brings back memories of my dad and my mum when they were alive, and they used to do their shopping around. And then, for everyone else, they'll be like, yeah, but that means so much to me because my uncle used to take me there, or, we used to go there as a kid. And I try and do places that aren't there anymore as well, like a lot of places that maybe have been totally demolished and rebuilt. So I get old black and white pictures and I'll paint them in colour.
You do them up again. I was having a good look, as I do every now and again on the site. And like, if you've never been to a game or never been to North London, you could actually go on your website and flick through the photos, and it would be like match day. Like, I'm not even joking when I say that.
Station, and you cross over the road, and you get your memorabilia in the match day shop. And you're fishing, chips down in the
chips, You go to the as you say, the Little Wonder Cafe. All the bars are there, and then obviously the stadium itself. Like, you literally are taking us on a journey on the website. It's incredible. I'd encourage
I
anybody.
do that as well with the Islington side. It's like people that I talk to that are born and bred in Islington. They'll say, "Oh, I'll do chip shops down Essex Road, or like the pie and mash shop in Chipper Market," and that brings back so many memories for people in that respect as well. Not only for the football side, but just because people are so familiar with the area anyway, and the cinemas and things.
Takes them back. Speaking of cinemas, I have to ask, because you've all the pubs done, and I can kind of understand. There's one that I go to. I go to one that you haven't done yet, and I can probably guess why you haven't done it. Is the Coronet? Is that on the to-do list, or is it just
Coronet? I have.
Have you? I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it on the site.
Honestly, I have, and the reason I did the Coronet was when it was a cinema, it was the ABC Coronet, and my dad was a projectionist there. And my mum was an usherette, and that's where they met.
Wow, no way.
My mum came over from Ireland. She was from Limerick, and she lived in Notting Hill. And she used to work at the ABC in Notting Hill, I think it was. And they were short-staffed down in Holloway Road. So she went there and did a few shifts and met my dad, and never left Highbury. They got married, and their first house was in Chatterton Road, and then they moved to Balfour Road. We were all born. And that's where they stayed.
That's incredible. So the Coronet means a hell of a lot to you. Without the Coronet, you wouldn't be here.
This is so true. The Coronet is where it all began.
The next time I'm in the Coronet, I'm going to kiss the wall, because without you wouldn't.
I know it's also a classic Art Deco building as well, so it's got some character and stuff.
Yeah, I promise you, if you search Coronet on my website, it's definitely there. Yeah.
Is it there? I genuinely did. I've done that and I couldn't find it, but I probably spelled it wrong.
Well, maybe
but do you have a favourite Arsenal moment that you've captured, or you'd love to capture in your art?
An actual moment to capture, or that I have captured. I love, obviously, as you know, I love painting the old stadium in any inside and outside concourses and stands and everything. But really, I did have an answer for this. Actually, the best moment that I've captured recently is Hilsey and Coat Guy with Gabrielle after he scored at the North London Derby. And
Brilliant.
you have the both of them. I mean, the photograph was amazing because it had the whole crowd, but I just singled out Trevor and Coke Guy and the back of Gabrielle, and the amount of emotion that the two faces had.
The two guys are showing.
And then obviously I sent Trevor a print of that, and he's got it on his wall when he does his
Has
podcast.
he?
Yeah, you have to watch it behind his shoulder when he's broadcasting. But that really was probably one of my first. Although I did capture, when Martinelli, again, I don't know why, but it was another North London derby match, and Martinelli threw the Arsenal.
Oh yes, I've seen that. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Onto the camera.
Yeah,
that was a lovely moment, actually. Yeah. And who or how do you choose? Like when you're thinking of what am I going to do next? How do you choose which players or moments or scenes to paint? Or is it a case that something happens like the Martinelli scarf moment, and then you say, right, that's a good one? Or do you have like kind of a long list of stuff that you want to do as well?
There's always a list. I've got reference pictures that I collect and I keep in a folder. I tend to keep those for times like now in close season, but really the match and the game and the season tends to dictate what really should be painted quickly. It's like, Declan Rice's celebration after Real Madrid when he had the shirt. So I did that, I think I did that sort of that night or the next morning or something. But yeah, I suppose it really does depend on the excitement of the matches, really. Like the North London derby incidences, they were immediately after when the picture appears, usually on X. I just think, I've got to paint that.
Yeah, that's your inspiration. You're like, straight away, really? Let's do it.
Or I'll be watching the match and something will happen. I'll go, I hope someone's taken a photograph of that, because that little bit of celebration or something, that just... Or I try and freeze frame the TV. Which is really
because these are the moments that we cherish the most. It's the celebration, it's the highs that we want to capture. So for you to then kind of immortalize them then for forever in your paintings, I'd say you get a great buzz out of doing that.
Yes.
One thing I have to mention, because I think it's incredibly generous of you, and it's something that I so basically, all the North London Forever stuff that you have on the website, you donate all the proceeds of that to the Ben Kinsella Trust.
I have, yes.
And to me, that's just a fantastic thing to do, because anybody who doesn't know, Ben Kinsella is the Louis Dunford's friend who was unfortunately killed in a knife crime incident when he was 16, and that wonderful song that Louis Dunford sings called "The Ballad of Benjamin." And Arsenal have of course done the white kits to kind of combat knife crime and so on. And I just wanted to say well done for doing that, for doing your part, because that means an awful lot to me, and it means an awful lot to a lot of people out there as well.
That's so kind. Thank you so much. And it is such an important charity. And it not only is it like Louis Dunford, North London Forever, Arsenal related, he was an Islington boy, and I paint lots of Islington. And we did have another, there's lots of stabbing incidents, unfortunately, in and around London and the UK and everywhere in the world, really. But there was another high profile stabbing in Islington a few years ago of the flower man of Islington, Tony Eastlake. And I did a painting of him on his stall for his family, for his daughter, and we raised money for that. So the charities are always there, and to have the I suppose the luxury of being able to create the art and the kindness of people to buy my art, and then be able to send those proceeds into the charities and in Tony's case, the Just Giving site, so the family could actually afford the funeral, because that was really what we were raising money for. It's quite overwhelming, really, because people are so generous and so kind, and it's just giving something back, really. The North London Forever stuff, we initially did it just to get the profile up for the the anthem in the ground, and it just made sense to send money to the Ben Kinsella Trust, because it went full circle. It was Louis Dunford, it was Ben, it was Islington, and it was Arsenal, so it all made perfect sense, really. And we're still going. I'm in collaboration with a brilliant guy who's helping me sell T-shirts and hats and bags and everything. And any money
Nice.
we get from them, that goes into the charity. I think we're about £1,500 in, which sounds not a massive amount for the, but I'm only selling
It
amazing.
mainly.
It's amazing.
But it's and it's constantly going in. So
well,
the more we sell, the more I can donate. So it's great.
Of course, and look, if people are on the site, obviously they'll be going on to pick kind of whatever you want. But like, I mean, add on some of the North London Forever stuff as well, and there'll be great benefits to the charity as well. So no, you should be very proud of yourself for that, Ruth, and thank you so much for doing it. No, fair play. Last couple of questions, and I'll hand you back over to Tabs. If you could design a match day program cover for a dream Arsenal fixture, what would it look like?
Well, again, I was thinking about this, and I thought, once again, I'd want to do the North London Derby match day program because why not? And I would probably want something like, Gabby's celebration on the front of it, or Martinelli's spider cam incident. So, or something like Mind the Gap or Always in Our Shadow. Something just to rattle their cage a bit, so that when they came and the fans were in the stadium reading it, we could just really give them a little bit of a nudge.
Yeah, it would be like it'd be like you artistically sticking two fingers up at the Spurs.
Yes, well, why not?
I love it. Why not? Exactly. I know, fair play. That's brilliant. It kind of has to be the North London Derby, doesn't it? And I like the thoughts of some spuds kind of sitting there going, not happy looking at it. It'd be brilliant. Yeah. Who does she think she is? Look, I will pass you on to Tabs for the next part. Thanks so much, Ruth.
Thank you, Ian.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Yeah, Ruth, I actually had one question. Just, do you have that original piece of work of Highbury Barn?
I do.
Do you still have it?
I do. Yeah, I've kept I say I kept everything. I think earlier on I sold an old painting of Manzi's, but the very first Highbury Barn painting I've got is very naive, and I look at it and I think how different it is from what I did then to what I paint now. I mean, if you put them side by side, there are little elements to think, oh yeah, that is the same artist, but it's so different. There's hardly any bricks on it, for instance.
But it must be so nice to look back at it. So that this is the beginning of what I've been doing now for the last, 6-7 years or whatever. And actually, I was surprised when you said like 2019. It feels like you've been doing it a lot longer. I don't know. It just feels like you've been an ever presence on in terms of like on the socials, and stuff like that. It just feels like
I'm that annoying. You see.
No, you're that good. You're that good at marketing. There you go. You're that good at marketing and promotion, and so on. So and also then, what made you move into sort of other? You got also merchandise. I would buy the mug, but I've got too many that my wife would just kill me if I bought another mug. But the latest mug with the older sort of Gothic writing on it and stuff. So what made you move into the sort of beyond just the pictures and stuff into more merchandise?
To be perfectly honest, it sounds all like very glamorous and sexy to be an artist and you're selling your art and you're doing this online. Some weeks I could barely afford to keep my website going, so I had to think outside the box. Obviously I still sell my cards and I still sell my paintings, but I just thought I need to bring people into the website by offering. So the mugs, for instance, I bought as a wholesale from someone that had found them from the Staffordshire pottery. They were like vintage 1990s mugs, and he had them for years, I think, and he just wanted to get rid of them in a bulk. So I bought them, and I thought, well, I've got an audience who would love vintage mugs. Yes. So what I tend to do is try and speak to people that I know that wheel and deal, if you like, and if they get anything Arsenal, I'll say I'll have it off you, and then I put it on my website, and it just gives people, like, if people want to come and buy a birthday card. Like someone bought their grandson one of my door signs for Christmas. So it's just like, I don't make these things. I'm
you just source
selling them on. Yeah. But the things that I do make, they're quite obvious. So they're all the North London stuff and my paintings really. But I just needed to try and branch out just to try and keep my head above, keep the wolf from the door.
Everyone's got to make a living, so there's nothing wrong with it, and it's fine. And often it's very nice to support the more independent retailers and the smaller. It's so easy to go to the Armoury and my God, another drop, and all the rest of it. So it's nice to say, well, no, and a bit like with Gavin from She Wore, the stuff that they do, and yourself is sometimes, we should be all looking at people like yourself, at the independents, the originals and stuff like that, and not always just simply just go to the Armoury.
Yeah, with Gab at She Wore, he's so quick as well, and it's great because he'll come up with a T-shirt design that everybody wants. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's been like a song or a phrase or an incident, and he's brilliant, and it'll be on there. So put that on a T-shirt. So, and I think and they're only limited runs as well. So when you get one of those, people will see you at the stadium and like, where did you get that? And you've all sold out now. So I love it.
Well, there's I showed you my shorts, but even this top is one of his as well. So
I've got a couple of T-shirts behind me that I've got from She Wore. The Highbury ones I love.
Yeah. So no, as I said, we should all support our independent retailers. Not just every merch drop that the Arsenal marketing team give us every 5 minutes. So anyway, look. Obviously, Arsenal podcast. We want to know about your love for Arsenal, and I think I can guess part of this. But how did you become an Arsenal fan? What got you into supporting Arsenal? How long you've been supporting Arsenal? Tell us a bit about your history with Arsenal.
I can blame my mother entirely because she loved the Arsenal.
Is this one for the psychotherapist? You're talking about our mums. It's all her fault.
It is, yeah. We can blame mum and my brother. My brother's a massive, massive Arsenal fan. They were on our doorstep. My mum used to leave the kitchen window open so she could hear the crowd singing on match days. Our road was completely full of cars on match day. They parked down the middle or down the sides. It was just amazing. It's just so brilliant. And whenever we walked, my dentist was down in Blackstock Road. We went shopping, so every time we left the house, you literally walked past the stadium's view. So mum loved the Arsenal, especially in the 70s with all the Irish players. She loved Liam Brady, so that was another thing. My mum was the only person that I knew got a newspaper and read it from the back page first to the front.
Nice.
Don't we all? Isn't that how it's meant to be read?
Who cares about the front page? It's the sport you want. So really, that was just fortune that ended up being. It was just. I thought everyone supported Arsenal. I went to Highbury Quadrant School, and obviously all the kids were Arsenal fans. So when you go to secondary school, and all of a sudden, you're probably the only Arsenal fan. That was a bit of a culture shock to me. I was thought, well, what's going on here? So it was just in your blood, really.
No, of course. Well, I said, considering where you lived, born and bred and stuff, it's not surprising. So, and do you remember the first game of Arsenal you either watched live at the stadium or on TV? Do you remember?
The first game I remember was watching on TV, and that was really the FA Cup final in 1979. And I remember it because my brother was because he's a little bit older than me, and he was just so devastated at the idea that we might lose this final. And my mum was like, don't worry, it'll be fine. Absolutely fine, we'll win. And then obviously, in 79, it was like Alan Sunderland's last minute winner. And my brother just ran out of the house, picked up his football, and he just reenacted the goal against the wall that was outside in the front.
And it's Alan Sunderland's birthday today.
No,
is it? Wow.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so wow.
Well, I'm just thinking that I'm surprised that isn't one of your inspirational pictures of the one of him running and going like that.
Do that really?
Yeah,
I really want to get my paintbrush out and do that. But I do have one lovely thing about that particular year. We went up to see the parade when they paraded the cup, and we just walked up and stood on Highbury Barn, back to Highbury Barn again, and the bus went by, and all cheery and everything. And my brother ran off, as he always did, run away after the bus, and then came back with this yellow and blue rosette that he'd found on the floor. And he was like, oh, I've got this rosette. And so that was 1979. And all these years later, I've still got it.
Oh,
It's actually
wow.
behind me.
Oh, yes. Yes, you can see it.
Yes.
And
Very
the
cool.
rosette
That's incredible.
there. And I've still
Yeah.
got my little OK Arsenal badge that my dad bought me before the final from Chapel Market. There was a stall in Chapel Market that sold all the Arsenal gear. And I've still got my little yellow and blue OK Arsenal badge. So really, that was probably my earliest and probably my fondest Arsenal memory, really, I think.
Yeah. It seems to be a popular choice, and I think it depends
on
we're
how
of a certain-
us oldies. You young.
we're of a. I was going to say we're of a certain vintage that we all go back to 1979. Somehow it always goes back to 1979. I think that's also my first memory of watching Arsenal on
You don't look old enough,
TV.
Cabs.
If it makes you feel any better,
it's a filter. It's a filter I put on the screens.
if it makes you feel any better, I was only born in 1979.
Oh,
Wow.
That's just showing off now, aren't you?
I was 6. There we go. I was 6 in 79. So cool. And what about the first game you went? So that's on TV. What about the first game you went to?
So get this right. The first football game I actually attended, because when I was a teenager, I didn't really do football. I did pop bands. So when I was old enough to go out on my own, my brother used to have a paper round. He used to go down Highbury and pay, the North Bank, whatever pennies it was. But I didn't do that. It wasn't really a girl's thing to do back then. Sounds a bit sexist, but it was more of a boys thing. And so I used to do all the pop bands in my teenage years. But my first game was in 1991, and this will be an eye-opener. So my best friend from school was a massive Tottenham fan. And all her family were season ticket holders and members and everything. And my first game I went to was Arsenal-Tottenham at Spurs.
Oh,
And I went incognito, and I went with her to
That's
the
hardcore.
Tottenham end. I know. First
Hardcore.
game, I was there. It ended up being a 0-0 game.
Luckily.
I didn't have to stifle my yes when we would have won normally, but maybe it was cursed that day. But yeah, so my very first physical game was actually at White Hart Lane.
Wow.
But I was supporting Arsenal.
Yes, good.
Yes.
And what about your? Well, a couple of comments. You said you're into the bands and stuff. I don't want to judge the music you were listening to, but if you were maybe following certain boy bands at the time and stuff like that, those girls can be quite vicious.
Yes.
When they want to. When you think a football crowd is vicious. A bunch of girls trying to get hold of the Bay City Rollers. Now, I'm not saying that's you, but
the Bay City Rollers.
I know.
Or the Osmonds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
of all the bands you could have picked.
Oh, I don't know. It's just you can catch my drift. I'm not my memory and timings and all the rest of it. As I said, I'm 52. I'm not very good with dates and numbers and stuff. But you catch my idea. But they can be vicious. Anyway, the point is they can be just as bad. Right. Anyway, good job. This is not video because I'm quite red, like my hat.
It's only because it's the hottest day of the year. It's fine.
Tabs is the same colour as his cap.
Right. Anyway, moving on swiftly. What was your first game at Highbury then?
Oh, my first game at Highbury. God, again, it was. I think it was against Tottenham, the Arsenal. Yeah, I've done a lot of Tottenham Arsenal games and Chelsea Arsenal games for some reason. The other best friend that we had was a Chelsea fan, and she again had the season ticket.
You need to be picking your friends better.
Oh, I know. It's terrible, isn't it? But they're lovely people, so what can I say?
Yeah, of course. So,
yeah, I think the first game at Highbury was against Tottenham, and that was 92. I think that was
92.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that would have been.
Ian can quickly look that up.
The tickets somewhere. I've still got my little ticket downstairs somewhere.
Yeah, that's something I miss from the old days. There's a phrase, but like not having the ticket stubs anymore. Like it's all done on phone. Yeah, I still have my first one, and it's I absolutely adore it. But now, like, what do you do? Take screenshots of your
This is what upset me with the season tickets going without the the cards and the little pouch.
Yeah.
But now it's all on the phone. And when I started painting my Emirates block entrances, my thinking was I'm going to contact Arsenal, and if they collaborate with me, they could print my painting of the block entrance on everyone's season ticket card.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Like when you get a credit card and you can have a picture
Yeah.
on it. Well, I thought season ticket card, I'll do all the block entrances and people can have my painting on their seat. But it didn't happen because it all went
digital. But that's a really great idea. Yeah, because we used to have those, as you say, little kind of credit card style things. Yeah, that would have been a great idea.
Yeah, but anyway, there we go.
Those were the days. Just
those days again, and I bet you it'd be quite nice actually also to draw some of those like really nice old sort of tickets, especially like the cup final ones. They'd be very. They were keepers items, weren't they? These tickets, they were very sort of.
Yeah, I went to the cup, the semi-final between Tottenham and Arsenal again. I don't know what it is about the Tottenham Arsenal link I've got here. It's going. I do like a North London derby, and the picture. I suppose you must have yours. The ticket. It's like the Gaza, I think, is on one. I think Tony Adams is on it. It's beautifully done. Yeah. And it's an unusual square shape and everything. I've got that upstairs somewhere as well.
No, they were good.
Yeah, tickets. I think there's an option to make them look really, really lovely. But now we've gone digital. It's just a QR code, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Do a picture of QR code in watercolor. There you go.
Maybe there's an opportunity there, Ruth, because I reckon that people like who say don't have tickets for say their first game, like when they did go to them, back in the day, maybe there's a little gap in the market for you to actually recreate those tickets.
Because they were lovely. They were red like foil, weren't they?
Yeah.
With the badge and everything on. They were really gorgeous looking things.
Yeah.
No, they were good. They were good. So how often do you get to go at the moment? Do you get to go see Arsenal, or
no?
Do you...
The last time I was at the Emirates was I think it was against Burnley, 2024 in the November. Was it 24? 23. Anyway, yeah, it was last 23-24 season, the November.
Oh, I'm thinking Aubameyang own goal, but 23-24. Maybe no, that's a bit later than that. But anyway. Okay. So you're a member?
No, I'm a red member. Yeah, okay. But I mean, I've got. I suppose if I really put the feelers out, I've got people that could get me tickets. I've got a guy who lives near me down here in Kent, and he's a season ticket holder. He's a member of one of the Arsenal supporters clubs down here locally.
Okay. Yeah,
and so we're hoping to.
Oh, so you've moved away from the area, so you're no longer in the area.
I moved out of London quite some time. When my mum died, which was 2002, Dad died 2003, and then I had no sort of connection with London then when the family weren't there. So I'm in Kent now. I live in the Medway Towns down in Kent. Yeah. So I should have stayed in Highbury, shouldn't I?
Like a 2-bed or 1-bed apartment would be worth about £7 billion. So
I can't afford to park in Highbury, let alone live there. That was definitely a lottery win dream. That one.
Yeah.
It is incredible. So what would you say is your best Arsenal memory?
Really, I said before, probably one of them is obviously the 1979 memories. But I tell you what I really did love. I watched the 2014 FA Cup at home on my own. Everyone was at work and I was in the house on my own. It was just me and the dog. And my memory of that was Cazorla scoring the free kick, and I screamed so loud on my own in the house. I was running around. So I think one of the happiest moments was that goal by Santi.
And a really important goal as well.
Yes, because he got us back in it.
Absolutely, we needed that, and still going strong by the looks of things. So he's incredible. He's incredible. So no, that is a superb memory. I remember watching that. I was at home with my son, and I remember I've actually got a photo of him in front of the television with us lifting the trophy, him holding Gunnosaurus like with his hand up in the air. So yeah, that one. So that was his first trophy. That was the first one, wasn't it? It was first of three, wasn't it? Because we beat Hull and then.
Again.
Villa and Chelsea. So there we go. Yeah. So there we go. That was his first Arsenal trophy. And on the opposite side, what's been your worst Arsenal memory?
Well, I suppose everyone says the same, really, don't they? It's got to be the 2006 Champions League crushing defeat in Paris.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I mean, that was absolutely horrendously sad. But a couple of seasons ago, when out of the blue we suddenly, I put a bet on Arsenal to win the league. I put a £5 on Arsenal to win the league in this close season, and everyone laughed at me and said, "Of course we won't." And we did so well, and we got to the stage like 3/4 of the way through the season where people were like, "Do you know what? Arsenal can do this." And I was like, "It's because I put a £5 on it. It's me. I'm making them win." And then, we had people coming to the stadium. Vieira came to the stadium. Even Kim Kardashian came to the bloody stadium. And I was thinking, we're going to do it. And I so believed and I also thought, God, this is like, I had something stupid like 125 to 1 or something. I was like, I'm going to win a lot of money here. And then we didn't. So that was quite crushing.
I can imagine. For two reasons. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe those two moments really.
Everybody does talk about like the defeat to Barcelona and stuff like that. I don't know, my one is another Champions League one, but it's the when Chelsea knocked us out in the quarterfinals.
The Wayne Bridge one.
Wayne Bridge. That's more crushing because we should have won that. We had an amazing team then, and we should have won it back then. So, I think getting to the finals, great. And also, I was living in New Zealand in the time, and I watched it, and then had to turn off and go to work. So it did. I was a bit removed from it because then I could avoid it because it wasn't egg shaped, so the Kiwis didn't care at the time. So there we go.
And that was the year as well that Mourinho and Porto won it. So if that moment we may never have gotten the Mourinho era.
God, you've made me feel even iller about it. Thinking about Wayne Bridge scoring, so Chelsea fans are happy.
Yeah, we don't like that.
I hate Chelsea with a passion. And then the Mourinho effect is, thanks, Ian.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, you're right. That whole bloody Wayne Bridge. There we go. Anyway, let's move on to
memory, nicer things. Going on about your worst Arsenal memory, what about the saddest memory? What is your saddest memory? Because my saddest memory is, the saddest image is just Thierry kneeling down on the last day at Highbury, because I've painted that with the Wigan at the Wigan game with all the the flags and the t-shirts in the stadium, and he's just taking it all in, isn't he? I think that's so sad.
End of an era. Yeah. I was at that game, and my wife actually bought me a lovely picture of that exact moment. Thierry Henry kissing the ground after he scored the penalty for his hat trick. And it was very, very sad. Of course, there's the other side where like it was the start of a new era, but we all loved Highbury so much, had so many great memories there. So it was a very sad, poignant moment. Yeah, it really was.
I'd say my sad it was like from my formative Arsenal years, and it was unfortunately it was an Arsenal Tottenham game. And
what is I went there with Tottenham tonight?
I know, and I went with my brother and my dad. My brother's a Tottenham fan, and we were in the sort of junior kind of section. So on the West Stand, down in the little steps, and they've got the little barrier, and I think we got spanked 5-0 at home. And I've got this just memory of me with my woolly hat, just pulling it over my eyes and bawling my eyes out, crying as I think it was Mickey Hazard and Garth Crooks took us apart. So that's it's in terms of saddest moments. That's the one where I said, I was. That's all I can remember is just that. Just when you open your eyes and you got them covered by like a woolly hat or something. I can just see this sort of red and white all blurry in front of me.
No.
but there we go. That was a long time ago. So moving on to happier things.
Yes.
Who's your favourite Arsenal player currently and why?
What, in the current team?
Yeah.
Or
in the
my
current
favourite?
squad? Yeah, the current
squad.
one, and then I'll go to your favourite of all time. But who's your current
it's got
team?
to be Saka, because he gives everything. You know, I was torn between him and Rice, but I always go back to Saka, because whenever he's on the field, you know, I just feel that he wants to be there, and you know, he's just come out, you know, from the Hale End, and he's just a great inspiration for the new lads that are coming through, knowing that, you know, they can be him one day as well. I'm sure that's where Miles and Ethan have got their love as well, because they can see it's all intrinsic in their being, isn't it? When you hear them talk about, you know, the you know, the mentoring that goes on in the Hale End side of things, you know. Is it Per Mertesacker that he's a big name behind all that as well, isn't he?
Yeah. He's the one behind the academy and
the academy. Yeah. So so really for me, I suppose Saka, because he's Arsenal through and through, and I really hope that he really. I don't expect him to stay at Arsenal forever, but I really hope we get a good few more seasons out of him.
Yeah, he's kind of the current Mr. Arsenal. We think
like
of Tony
Adams was. Yeah.
And I know obviously he's a different style player to Tony, and you know his leadership is different. But I get that vibe from Saka. Yeah. He's our Mr. Arsenal now.
And he's grown up so wonderfully. You know, he's matured so well. He hasn't gone off the rails or anything. I mean, they wouldn't do anyway, because they're quite protected, aren't they? But yeah, he's very sensible. I think he's got a good level head on his shoulders as well.
Yeah. I agree.
He's an Ealing boy, which is where I grew up. So so there we go. I think actually, to be honest, I might have moved well away from there. My parents are still there, but I might have moved well away from there during his formative years while he was going to school. So actually, I don't think we were in the vicinity at all, unless he goes to Ealing at the weekends to visit his parents. But anyway, moving on. So and this is listeners, pay attention. So Ruth, who is your favourite Arsenal player of all time and why?
For me, that's really easy, and we mentioned him already. It's got to be Santi Cazorla, the little magician.
Wow. Nice.
I think he is just incredible. I've always said it, and I will not be swayed on it at all. I mean, go from what he went through, nearly losing his leg, to coming back, and in his later years, I mean, most players his age would be retired or gone into punditry or, you know, opened a discotheque or something. I don't know, but he is. I mean, what he did last week, wasn't it? He just got his boyhood team through to the playoffs in Spain
and promoted Oviedo. I think it was Oviedo, and they won the playoff and they got promoted back to the Liga.
And he wanted to play for the club for free, but by the rules of the Spanish football association, they wouldn't. So he just took minimum wage. It's a great pick because
he's probably given that to charity anyway.
100% he is. Yeah, it's a great pick because often you get the Thierry Henry or the Dennis Bergkamps or Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira. So Santi Cazorla is a great answer. He's just a great guy.
You don't hear anyone say anything against him. You know, he's just wherever he goes. And I've said this for ages. I just want him to come back to the Arsenal in some capacity, be it coaching or, you know, just sitting there and smiling at people would be
just
great.
Be a wee mascot.
You know, just be a wee mascot. Yeah, just bring him out on the match day. We'll all cheer at him and then put him back and have a dinner.
I'm just getting pictures of Cazorla walking around with Gunnersaurus now.
Yeah, just a little mascot, you know. Walking out holding Declan Rice or Saka's hand on match day. No.
He's not the tallest, so you might think, who's that kid? I've not seen him before. I mean, it was just his two-footedness amazing. That bit when he's which foot shall I take the corner with? It's it's incredible. And so a lovely choice, a surprising one to be honest, but a lovely choice indeed. Okay, Ian, over to you to finish things off.
Yeah, again, thanks for your time, Ruth. We don't have too much left, but a few last questions. And I love this question because I have a few little kind of match day routines or superstitions. But do you have any kind of match day routines or superstitions that you think of on match days? Do you have anything like that?
I'm not a superstitious kind of gal, so I'm not the one that will wear the lucky pants or socks or anything. I do get up. If it's a big game, I am nervous. I'll get up with the butterflies, think, "Oh God, can I bear to watch this?" So I haven't got the luxury of being able to go to the matches very often. But so I'll be either listening to it on the radio or on my television, or if you can stream things somewhere that's naughty, but I try and watch it anyway I can.
We got to do what we got to do to see the Arsenal.
So yeah, I normally if it's like a 3 o'clock kickoff or a 5 o'clock, I'm probably at my desk painting with it on there, and I'm
nice.
If I'm nervous, I'm like, oh, I'll be watching it. If it's a massive game, then I'm just sat in the middle of the sofa in front of the TV in the front room. So that's normally what I'm doing, and I will scream and shout. Like, my son still lives with us, and he just can hear me wherever I am.
Have you ever ruined a painting by screaming mid-stroke?
No, not yet. I'm a bit careful. The paintbrush will go down if I'm really thinking, what on earth are we doing? But I try and distract myself with the painting, but normally I'm probably just trying to set my hands really and screaming at the other team or VAR or the referee.
Or something.
Yeah. No, I'm always cheering our guys on. I'm not going to be mean to them, but everyone else.
I know that feeling. I do, giving out about VAR and referees. And in general terms about the current Arsenal team, how do you feel about them? Do you have a connection with them? Do you feel part of it? Like, how do you feel about who we are and how we're playing at the moment?
I'm very excited about our current team. I mean, I have said this for the last couple of seasons, and I do think Arteta gets a lot of stick about not buying the right players. It's not always down to him, as it is down to like the powers that be behind him. But the players that we've had, and I know we've had injuries, and it has really knocked us, and we haven't got that strength that the likes of City and Liverpool have had. But we've got some fantastic little players, and we've got some lovely talent coming through, and I can't wait to see where Waneri and Lewis Scully take us as well, because although he's very hot-headed, Miles, but he'll grow out of that. I think even in the early days of Saka, he used to lose his head early on, but he's turned into this incredible player. So I've got all the faith in our team, and if we can add to it, then all the better. But I mean, we've just got the goalie today, haven't we, from Chelsea?
That's right, yeah. It's a perfect segue into my next question, because we're going to say, what's your dream summer transfer? Because we signed Kepa today. Like, my feelings are, I think it's an astute signing. We were close to, we nearly signed Juan Garcia, who signed for Barcelona, and we nearly spent 30 million euros on him. And that's a huge outlay for a goalkeeper who isn't going to play much.
Yeah. And
yes, it's another ex-Chelsea player, and we're sick of buying Chelsea players, but I think this one's a very, very wise one. It's only £5 million, and he will be able to play minutes. He will play more minutes than Neto did. I don't think Arteta trusted him at all. No. So I'm happy with that. But what, like, after Kepa, first of all, what do you think of the Kepa deal, and who after Kepa do you think we're going to get, and who would you like us to get?
Well, I think it's obviously a wise deal, and I'm hoping that he's not going to become like a Martinez, where he wants to be the number one. He's going to come in and want Raya's shirt, because I trust Raya, and I think he's a great goalkeeper. And if he keeps, the momentum that he's shown, even next season, he'll still be our number one. So as long as the new guy that comes in doesn't think he can still, the limelight, and he knows he's the reserve goalkeeper. And I suppose if we could use him for the cup games maybe, and see how he gets on for those, and alternate them occasionally for maybe the not so scary games. But there's a lot of talk about, is it Gyökeres? I can never pronounce it. I suppose you listen to all the hype online, and you follow the rumour mill, I suppose, and it's Sesko, isn't it? I don't. I know we got rid of Party, so I don't really know what to expect round the corner. I mean, I'm not one of these ones that really jump on the rumour mills. I like to sit there and wait until there's the official photograph and they're signing it.
Make sure wait till the website posts it.
Yeah, because you could believe everything and nothing, or between, we've signed and unsigned players like
I know
18 times in 3 hours. So
I think the whole Sesko and Gyökeres situation, I'm calling it the hokey cokey, because one's in and one the next they're out, and you don't know what's going on.
Hot shots on social media that seem to know everything and know nothing at the same time.
No, absolutely nothing. Yeah.
So I just wait for the official announcements.
I think that's essential. There's a lot of head loss out there and a lot of impatience. So I think waiting for that, we signed someone. Oh, great, and it makes for a very chilled life.
Yeah, maybe the club just like to keep it under wraps, and they'll have a nice big announcement towards the end of the season, and we go sort of headlong into the next season with the excitement rather than it waning off.
Yeah.
And on next season, what are your thoughts and dreams and hopes? Because we know, look, Liverpool are powering up, Man City are powering up.
Oh, they lost yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, which I found hilarious.
But you know what? Morning?
I was kind of hoping that they'd stay in for longer so that they'd be
Is there a tournament? Is there a tournament going on?
I've
no idea.
Damp squib, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's a ridiculous thing to ask players to do. I was hoping they'd stay in for as long as possible because they'd come back tired. But everybody seems to be buying lots of players, and we will as well. But like, what are your thoughts on next season? Where do you think, or not where do you think we'll finish, but how do you think we'll do in general?
I think we should look at quality and not quantity. But every season I start the same way, and I say we're going to win the league.
Yeah, of course.
And if we don't win the league, we're going to win the Champions League
well.
Yeah. Well, why not do the double?
Are you going to put a fiver on it?
I will. I'll try and get the same.
You should.
I will. Oh, I'm so devastated. Although I don't want to tempt fate now, because I think it was because I put that bet on that we didn't win the league.
So you do have a superstition then.
Oh, maybe a whole season superstition instead of a match day.
Rather than a match day one.
I think we will have a good season if VAR works in our favour and the PGMOL don't take the backhand. Are we allowed to say that?
Say what you like. Allegedly. Just say anything you want with allegedly at the end.
So I think we're going to be just fine. And I think Liverpool were very lucky to win the league last season. Quite frankly, and I don't think Man City are. I think the Pep. This won't please him that he was beaten yesterday or this morning, whenever it was, and I can't see him staying there for too much longer, really. I think it's ours for the taking. Come on, you Gunners!
Come on.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And before I pass you on to back onto Tabs, because we're going to wrap things up now. Again, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being so generous with your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. We've engaged a lot on social media. In fact, you've sent me plenty of cannons as well, which I'm very grateful for.
More cannons to send you, and I tag you and things. Someone's taken a cannon, I go, ask cannon pics. I love them. I love your page. It is brilliant.
Thank you so much. It's kind of you to say so. And look, and likewise, I absolutely love to see your posts and what new art comes along. And I encourage absolutely everybody to go on to ruthbeckart.com and have a look, because genuinely it just takes you through like literally a match day experience. And I absolutely love one of your latest ones, the Angel collage, the North London Forever, where you've put all the places from the song in one place.
Oh, yeah, I loved doing that.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, because again, it's not just Arsenal; it's
Islington.
It's Islington. Yeah,
which is my first love.
Yeah, and again, if people do buy that, the proceeds are going to the Ben Kinsella Trust. Yeah, so and again, well done. Well done on that. So look, thank you so much, Ruth. I'll pass it back on to Tom.
No, indeed. So look, as a reminder, Ruth has generously donated a wonderful A3 colour print of the Highbury West Stand entrance. It will make any wall infinitely better. And all you need to do is answer this one question: is who is Ruth's favourite Arsenal player of all time? So just listen back a few minutes, and you'll find out all about her love for this one particular diminutive player. And you need to send your answers to the Grove Podcast at outlook.com, or DM us on the socials, on Threads, Blue Sky, X, Instagram. You can find us at the Grove AFC, and I said we'll draw the lucky winner towards the end of the week, beginning of next week, and we'll announce it either on the next pod or on the socials, and so on. So, as I said, who is Ruth's favourite Arsenal player of all time to win the competition? And all that leaves me to say is, again, like Ian was saying, thank you so much, Ruth, for coming on and spending an hour talking to us too.
Thank you for having me on. It's been brilliant. I've enjoyed every second. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. And as Ian said, you can go and find all of Ruth's work on www.ruthbeckart.com, and you can find her on the socials at Ruth Beck Art. And yeah, it's great. Have a look, buy a few things, and keep supporting our independent sort of Arsenal fans who are sort of making a living out of it and doing a fantastic job out of it. And there are some really beautiful pictures up there, so I heartily recommend going have a look. And we'll also put all the details in the show notes. We'll also put a link to the Ben Kinsella charity stuff as well. So again, thank you. And as I said, we like to do these community casts to meet Arsenal fans that we know and love from online. As I said, we've done Elliot and Poz from Arsenal Vision, Ask Can Pin It Picks. I can't promise that everyone's going to end up being a guest and a co-host, but you never know. If you perform well enough, you might get usurped, Ian.
Ruth is hosting next week.
She wore North Banksy and Guna Dave Seeger were also on. So yeah, go and have a look for those. They're all really interesting, and it's good to learn about their backgrounds and so on. And so and we should have another special one next week, but we just need to line that one up. And there we go. And thank you, Ian, for your time. Thank you, Ruth. And all that leaves me to say is, until the next time, come on, you Gunners.